Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some different leashes. There's heaps on the market, but a couple that I've got here are just your general, most common leashes. What I'm going to start with is probably one of my least favourites. This is the retractable leash. The use for this of something beneficial will be quite minimal. You could use this at a dog park to still have access to your dog at a distance, but I'd prefer to use something like a proper long leash. Now when people hold these, the problem is that the dog's always leading you, and it allows the dog a lot of access and free rein. So the real problem I have with something like this isn't the actual tool itself, is what it represents. It represents you standing behind the dog, walking behind the dog while your dog leads you. And that's just not very good leadership. Okay, so the next one we'll look at is a puppy leash. One of the reasons I like these is because they're nice and light, and you can get full access, control the dog properly. The dog can't get too far away from you, and you can actually lead a dog with one of these. With a puppy, you don't want them feeling something very heavy. You want to be able to give them signals and indications without these heavy feelings, and this will do that quite well. One of the other ones we've got here, this is actually a leather type leash. We can call it a leather leash. One of the reasons I don't really like a leather leash is because you can't feel a lot through it. And when you're walking with the dog and you're focusing down the street, if the dog moves around on something like this, your response time is a little bit too slow. And that's why I would prefer to choose something like this. Just a nice, strong cotton leash with a good clasp on it. And when you hold one of these, nice and soft and comfortable on your hands and fingers. And it's also got a lot of flex in it, which allows you to feel the dog through the leash without having to look at the dog all the time. And the lucky last is our long line. And one of the main reasons I use this is to give a dog a lot of freedom at a dog park, but also still have access to them. So if your dog's antisocial and you're trying to teach the dog to be social, you can go to a dog park, give the dog a bit more freedom, not have to have the dog on such a short line, but if your dog's about to do something wrong, you can physically get the dog away. You can have access and control of the dog. One of the other good purposes for this is for recall training. So for example, if I want to teach Zeus to come to me, he already knows it, but if he didn't, I wanted to teach it to him, I would step back and away, call his name, and if he didn't come to me, I'll give the leash a little tickle at a distance, and as he decided to come to me, then I would say come, and I'll do that again and again and again. So this gives access and control, so I can always get him to come to me whenever I want, and then eventually when he's actually trained, I won't need this leash anymore. So for more information, go to dogbehaviourspecialist.com.au, like us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe. So if you just take your dog to a dog park for 45 minutes, that is not classed as a walk at all. So I know if the dog comes any more further forward than that, when the door's open this wide, that's the dog in the space of the door. Until I don't need to flick it anymore. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 10 of those in a row without flicking it. And when they feel control over the food in the bowl, you can develop food aggression.